Hi, this is Dave. Um, all right. Well, this past weekend, myself, Manny, Brent, and Casey hit the North Shore for a dive, our weekly dive. Usually every Sunday we go for a dive. Casey, we just met at the archery range, and found out that he was a diver. And finding dive partners, unless you have a dive partner, it's hard to go diving because it's not really safe to go by yourself. Well, anyway, he found out that we go diving, so we invited him along, and he said he'd join us, so he came out, which was actually really good because he's actually a pretty good diver. We usually stay in the water pretty long, and he was able to hang out with us. Actually, he was the last to get out of the water, so that was really good too. So anyway, this past weekend, we knew that the water was going to be a little bit murky. We had seen the water on Saturday, and the water looked a little green, so that's not a good sign that the water is going to be a little bit murky. Um, we also knew that the tide was going to be changing from low tide to high tide about 2 feet. So it's a pretty big switch in tide changes from, I think it was like from 6 a.m. all the way through to, I don't know, noon or 1 or something. There would be a big tide swing. And then that stirs up things as well. That probably made the water a little bit murky, and we also knew that there was going to be some current as well. But we also knew that the waves were down on the North Shore. There was a south swell, and the North Shore was pretty flat, and that the weather was going to be good. The winds were down 5 to 15, more like 5 to 10, virtually no wind. And so we headed out to Wailua, Ville Beach Park, which is a really nice place. Not too many people dive out there. And hit the water. And the water looked pretty good. It was a little dirty, a little murky. But, no waves. It actually looked really glassy. So there's no wind hitting the water on the surface, which made it nice and smooth and, really nice water conditions. So we hit the water and swam out, and there wasn't a whole lot of fish out there, not that we saw. We were trying to head out to a spot that we had previously seen some good-sized omilus or trevally swimming underneath the ledge. Um, it's pretty far off from shore, so we made the trek out there. And as you'll see from the video, the few shots that I did take on some fish, the results weren't good. But it was a good dive. I ended up catching nothing. In fact, the only person who did catch was Casey, the new guy, and he caught a purple table boss, which is a really nice fish, and it was a really good size one. So anyway, let's take a look at the video here. It's pretty, as you can see, the water is pretty murky. There were some good-sized kalas down there, unicorn fish. So I decided to take a drop down on a couple, and I went down halfway, and it was a really long shot. And top-down shots are really hit or miss. Manny's really good at that. I suck at top-down shots. We call it dive bomb shots. You have to be really accurate, and because you're shooting at the top of the fish, which is really a small profile. So anyway, that didn't start things off good. So we swam out to our spot, and as we got closer, the water started getting a little bit deeper. This is about, I don't know, 30, 35 feet, and I found this nice fish ledge, which I thought would have, something underneath, a kumu or some to'aos or some good-sized minpachis under this ledge. Just a whole lot of, palanis, and there's some kalas, smaller kalas swimming around. You'll see some small to'aos. Ta'apes, which are that yellow fish swimming there. And then you see that other yellow and black fish up there. That's a little table boss. Little goats. but nothing really decent to shoot. So headed back up, and we swam about maybe a couple of hours. Um, Not a whole lot of current. There was some current, but it was really minor. Uh, we actually got to the spot. We found the spot that had the ledge that we liked. And so this is me taking a drop down there. It's pretty deep, so Manny doesn't really like to go that deep unless he actually sees something. Then he has that extra burst of confidence. But as you can see, there's some surge at the bottom, and there's some Impachi swimming in the shadows there. You can't really see them; they don't come out. So I take a shot. I thought I was lined up. I mean, I'm point blank. End up hitting the reef. Yeah, shot goes straight into the not the reef, but it's like a rock, like the ledge. It just hits the ledge. So I'm like, what the heck? That's not good, you know. It's a good way to bend your shaft. You can stick your shaft in the ledge if it happens to go into a hole or something, and then getting it out is a real pain. And the fact that it's pretty deep, as you can see, I'm trying to make my way up to the surface. And there's Manny in the background. He's like, "What are you shooting at?" And I'm like, "There's some, good-sized Menpachis down there." He's like, Menpachis aren't worth it. It's not worth it, going down that deep. So I actually did end up going down there a couple more times, and by then I had already scared the Menpachi to another part of the ledge, which, it's hard to find that ledge actually goes in pretty far. So you kind of want to catch them when they're, at the opening of the ledge. But anyway, they kind of disappeared, and we ended up just going off, looking around in some other places. So we actually headed out a little bit further out, and the water got really deep out there. Manny said he saw a good-sized uhu, which is kind of like a gray snapper. He estimated it probably was over 10 pounds. He too had a bad day, point blank, not too far away, and he shot and missed completely. So it's just, just one of those days. We go out there, and sometimes you catch something, and sometimes you don't. But for us, it's just a dive. It's being out there in the water, and the weather's really nice. It's nice and relaxing. And have fun shooting at fish. And then if you catch something, then you got supper. If not, then I guess we're starving. So we decided to head back in, and this is kind of in the shallow area. It's probably like about maybe 15 feet or something. And here's a school of some Palani and Maninis, and I saw a good-sized uhu swimming around with this school of fish. So I kind of hid behind some of these rocks. You can see me swaying back and forth. That's the surges. I'm kind of like right near where the breakers are. So there's a lot of water movement, and I'm going back and forth, back and forth. And of course, the uhu had swam away already. So yeah, that was about it. It was a good 5-hour dive. Totally unproductive, but enjoyed ourselves. We had fun, and that's what diving's about. Just get out there and have some fun.